You ever notice how the hardest things ain't the big things at all? It's the small stuff. Getting out of bed, speaking up in a meeting, sending that email you've been staring at for an hour. We know what we ought to do, sure as the sun rises, but knowing and doing, well, they're different countries entirely, separated by a sea we can't seem to cross. Here's the thing about change. It takes 5 seconds. 5 seconds between the impulse to act in your brain, killing it dead with excuses, fear, all that noise in your head telling you to wait, to think it over, to be reasonable. 5 seconds is all you've got before your mind buries that instinct under a mountain of doubt. The rule's simple as breathing. The moment you feel that pull to do something, anything aligned with who you want to be, you count backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then you move. You don't think. You don't negotiate. You just go. It's metacognition. See, your brain working on itself. When you've got a goal, your mind opens up a task list, fires signals whenever you're near something that could help. That feeling you should exercise when you pass the gym? That's not random. That's your inner wisdom talking, and it deserves better than being ignored. We spend our lives thinking ourselves into paralysis. Thinking magnifies problems, breeds fear, keeps us small and stuck and snoozing through our own existence. But courage, real courage, it ain't reserved for the chosen few. It's your birthright. It's already inside you waiting. One moment of courage changes your day, one day changes your life. And one life? Well, that can change the world entire. The beauty of it is this. You don't need to climb Everest. You just need to honor your instincts with action. Stop overthinking. Start doing. Replace hesitation with a bias toward moving forward. Because the secret to change has been right there all along. In those 5-second decisions we make or don't make, 1,000 times a day. You're one decision away from a completely different life. The power's been inside you the whole time. You just gotta count backward and launch yourself toward it. Like a rocket breaking through gravity's pull before your mind talks you down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's all it takes. You count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and something shifts. The gears turn, your brain interrupts itself, and suddenly you're moving before the excuses can build their fortress. That's what happens when you use it, this simple metacognitive trick that breaks the spell of hesitation. See, the moment you feel that instinct to act, you've got about 5 seconds before your mind murders it. 5 seconds between possibility and paralysis. The brain's designed this way. Hesitation sends up a flare, signals danger, and down comes the whole protective apparatus to keep you exactly where you are. Safe, stuck, small. But here's what nobody tells you about courage. It ain't some grand personality trait reserved for heroes. It's just a push. The kind you give yourself when you're alone at your desk, in a meeting, standing in your kitchen thinking about that phone call you should make, that project you should start, that person you should talk to. 5 seconds is all you've got to honor that instinct before it drowns in doubt. When you count backwards, you're asserting control, activating your prefrontal cortex, interrupting the default patterns, creating what researchers call a starting ritual. You're replacing the habit of holding back with the habit of moving forward. One 5-second decision at a time, you're rewiring yourself. And the beautiful thing? This works because it's so stupidly simple. While your brain's got a million sophisticated ways to trap you in thought, you've got one straightforward way out. Count down and move. No negotiation, no debate, just action. Over time, you'll notice something profound. You're becoming someone with a bias toward action. You feel more in control because you are in control. You're proving it to yourself, push by push. The waiting ends. The overthinking stops. You discover that the patterns you thought were permanent, the worry, the fear, the hesitation, they're just habits, and habits can be broken. This is everyday courage, not history-making bravery, but the kind that changes you. And when you change, everything changes. Your confidence grows not from thinking about it, but from doing it, from honoring your instincts faster than your mind can manufacture reasons not to. 5 seconds. That's your window. That's your power. Use it before it closes. You know what's killing your dreams? It ain't the universe, ain't your circumstances, ain't even your lack of talent. It's that space between wanting and doing, that 5-second gap where your brain talks you out of everything worth having. We spend our whole lives waiting, waiting to feel ready, waiting for the right time, waiting until we're certain, waiting until we feel like it. But here's the truth nobody wants to hear. You will never feel like it. Never. That feeling you're waiting for? It's not coming. It's a ghost, a myth, a lie your mind tells you to keep you safe and small and stuck exactly where you are. See, your feelings ain't your friends in this game. They're saboteurs dressed up as wisdom. Every decision you make, 95% of them, comes from how you feel in that moment. Not from what you know, not from what you want, but from what feels easy right now. And what feels easy is staying put, staying quiet, staying exactly who you've always been. But courage, real, everyday courage, it's not about feeling brave. It's about counting backwards and moving anyway. 5 seconds is all you've got between impulse and excuse, between possibility and paralysis. In 5 seconds, your brain will build a fortress of reasons why not. So you gotta move faster than that fortress can rise. The world don't reward those who wait for permission or validation or the perfect moment. It rewards those who start before they're ready, who speak when their voice shakes, who walk across the room when their heart's racing. Michelangelo fled to Florence to hide from painting the Sistine Chapel. Steve Wozniak almost missed creating Apple because he didn't feel ready. Even our heroes needed pushing. You're not battling your ability to change. You're battling your feelings about changing. And feelings? They're just suggestions. The greatest among us learned to ignore them, to separate feeling from action, to move despite the fear, the doubt, the uncertainty gnawing at their guts. So stop asking if you're ready. Stop waiting to feel worthy or confident or motivated. None of that's required. What's required is 5 seconds of courage, just enough to interrupt your own excuses and push yourself into motion. Because you already have everything you need. The power's inside you, always has been. You just gotta count backward and claim it before your mind talks you out of your own life. You wake up, alarm screaming, and somewhere between sleep and standing, you make a choice that colors everything that follows. The hardest battles ain't fought on distant fields. They're fought right there, in that space between knowing what you ought to do and actually doing it. Health, productivity, procrastination. 3 territories where we sabotage ourselves daily, not from ignorance, but from feeling. We think our way into paralysis, waiting for some magical alignment of mood and motivation that never comes. But here's the truth they don't teach you. Your feelings are liars. Brilliant, convincing liars that dress up as wisdom while keeping you small and stuck. The secret to getting healthy? You'll never feel like exercising. Never feel like choosing the salad. The diet doesn't fail. Your negotiation with your feelings fails. Exercise is mental before it's physical. Your body goes only where your mind pushes it, and your mind needs interrupting before it builds that fortress of excuses. Productivity comes down to focus. 2 kinds, actually. First, managing the moment-to-moment distractions that bleed your attention like 1,000 small cuts. Second, the bigger picture. Are you spending your peak hours on what matters or letting other people's priorities hijack your day? The alarm rings, you rise, you claim those first sacred hours before the world gets its hooks in you. That's how you become the boss instead of the servant. And procrastination? It ain't laziness, it's stress relief in disguise. You're not avoiding the work itself. You're avoiding the bigger anxiety underneath it all. The money troubles, the relationship strain, the weight of everything pressing down. So you seek small respites, little dopamine hits from easier tasks, and the cycle deepens. Break it by forgiving yourself first. Then ask what your future self would do, that person you're trying to become. Finally, just start. Not forever, just for 15 minutes. Because once you begin, something shifts. Forward progress, however small, lifts the spirit and keeps you moving. The power was always yours. The knowing was never the problem. The problem was the vast ocean between knowing and doing. And you cross it 5 seconds at a time. one decision becoming another until you're standing somewhere you never thought you'd reach. You think confidence grows on trees? Or maybe it's doled out at birth to the lucky ones? Wrong on both counts. It's built, same as muscle, rep by rep, push by push, through acts so small they'd barely register on anyone's scale but yours. 25 years I walked around with anxiety gnawing at my insides, taking pills to keep the panic at bay, thinking this was just my lot in life. Born nervous, die nervous. But here's what I learned. You can change your mind as surely as you can change your shoes. The worrying, that's where it starts. That endless loop of catastrophe and dread your brain defaults to when you're not paying attention. The elders know this truth. At the end of their days, what do they regret most? All that precious time spent worrying about things that never happened, things they couldn't control, things that didn't matter one damn bit. Your mind drifts toward darkness faster than water runs downhill. Catch it. 5 seconds, count backwards, point yourself toward something better. Gratitude works like a key turning in a lock. It opens the chemistry of your brain, floods you with dopamine, pulls you back to what's real and good right now. Then comes anxiety, worrying that's spiraled into something physical, something that grips your chest and steals your breath. Here's the secret they don't tell you. Anxiety and excitement are twins in your body. Same racing heart, same sweaty palms, same surge of readiness. The only difference is the story your mind tells about it. When you label those feelings as excitement instead of fear, you give your brain the explanation it needs. It stops escalating. You stay in control. Your body calms. And fear? Fear needs anchoring. Before you face what scares you, plant a thought. A specific image of where you're going, what you'll do when you get there. When fear rises, count backwards and anchor yourself to that vision. If you're having dinner in Chicago tonight, the plane obviously didn't crash. Simple as that. Your mind stops making up disasters because you've given it context. Master this and you master everything. Your mind working for you instead of against you, not someday, not when you're ready, now, right now, in 5 seconds flat. You think confidence is something you're born with? Something the lucky ones get handed at the start like a silver spoon? No, it's built, same as muscle, same as anything worth having. Built through acts so small they'd barely register on anyone's radar but yours. Every time you push yourself to speak when your voice wants to hide, to move when fear says freeze, you're proving something crucial to the only person who matters, yourself. See, personality's got nothing to do with it. The loudest person in the room might be drowning in insecurity, while the quiet one in the corner believes in themselves completely. Introvert, extrovert. These are just starting points, not destinations. We're all capable of acting outside our usual character when something matters enough. The question isn't whether you're naturally brave or naturally confident. The question is whether you'll push yourself to do the thing anyway, and passion? That doesn't arrive like a lightning bolt from heaven. You discover it by exploring, by following your curiosity like breadcrumbs through the forest. Something keeps tugging at your attention? Make it your hobby. Feel envious of someone else's path? That's a clue about what you really want. Take one class, read one book, talk to one person. Small things compound into momentum, and momentum carries you towards something you never imagined possible. But here's where it gets real. Relationships. The deepest ones, the ones that matter most. They require something fiercer than any career move. The courage to say what's true, to ask the hard question, to break the silence that's been building like a wall between you and someone you love. There's no right time for honesty. There's only now. We tell ourselves we'll say it later, we'll ask tomorrow. We'll bridge that gap when the moment's perfect. But the moment's never perfect, and tomorrow isn't promised. So you count backwards, you interrupt your own hesitation, and you speak from your heart even when your voice shakes. Leave nothing important unsaid. That's the whole game, really. Building confidence through small acts of courage, discovering passion by following what fascinates you, enriching relationships by saying what needs saying. The power's been inside you all along. You just have to use it before your mind talks you out of your own life.